Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is coming at you on the bodyslam.net YouTube channel here. My name is Kyle Sparks, and this is.
I'm Tristan Jones. Thank you all so much for coming and watching us tonight. What a goddamn pay-per-view, huh? That
Revolution
was
has now
wild.
come and gone, and it was a heck of a show from top to bottom. There was a lot of talk going into the show that this was going to be on paper one of the best cards they've ever put together. Uh, I don't think it's a real hot take to say it probably delivered.
Well, 100%. I 100% agree. Like you said, there was a lot of talk going into it of it being like the top tier AEW pay-per-view going forward, and I was like, well, we'll see how it lives up to the hype. And I think that even with the crowd being a little bit tired near the end, that it 100% lived up to the hype. 100%.
Yeah, and we'll get to some of that as well as we go on. I mean, there were definitely some points where, you could tell the crowd, at least watching it, that the crowd definitely came off a little fatigued at points,
Mm-hmm.
just with match after match after match after match and moment after moment that just it's going to happen. And
Yeah.
but they still powered through and delivered a heck of a show.
Yeah. I mean,
But
huge props to Tony and the whole crew over there. So, I mean, it was hell of a show.
didn't have the debuts that you had all out last year kind of thing, or at least the level of them. But you had a couple of big ones, and we'll get to those a little bit. Shall we dive in?
I think we should just dive right into it, man.
All right. We go through the buy-in here. We'll uh, maybe not spend as much time on these because a lot of people picked these to go kind of the way they did.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Kicking off, Layla Hirsch getting the W over Chris Statlander.
It was an okay match. Honestly, I thought it was better than Rosa Britt, IMO, IMO. But yeah, Layla and Statlander really delivered, I think. And I mean, I'd give this one, I think maybe like 3.5 stars if I was Meltzer. But you know,
Yeah, I'd be about there. I think it was a real important thing for Layla to get the win here. I think
hmm
Statlander is in such a place with her position with best friends that she's probably not going to be hurt real bad by a loss, and it really made Layla, as we observed later on in the night, uh, with uh, with them making a women's eliminator match for Dynamite next week.
hmm
We get a little bit of ahead of ourselves here, but next week on Dynamite, we're going to have Layla Hirsch take on Thunder Rosa, with the winner getting Britt Baker in San Antonio the following week. Thunder Rosa's hometown, so who could possibly be winning that?
I wonder. Honestly, it's gonna be Thunder. It's gonna be Thunder Rosa that wins that. I mean, it's a no brainer. Um, but I mean, it did make Layla look like, as her name entails, legit. So I
Oh yeah,
mean, it's gonna be a good match. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, I think Thunder goes over there. I mean, it's a no brainer. But we're getting way
oh,
ahead of ourselves.
absolutely.
So
We are. It's true. But that's what it does for you. That kind of booking gets you excited to see what comes next and next and next. You
yeah.
want to start thinking about that. Um, this had some tremendous stuff. I loved the spot out of the corner that springs to mind immediately, where Statlander delivered the second rope uh, electric chair drop to.
Yeah.
Oh man, I visibly cringed at that. Just oh my gosh.
Yeah, I did that a lot tonight. I was like, "Ooh, that looked awful, but so good at the same time." Is definitely something that I did tonight a lot of. Um, but we also had Hook versus QT.
Yep.
With Hook, he's a star for the future, and
Yeah.
he's at the moment also really good.
Yeah. Well, and this was exactly what it needed to be. It was just a couple of minutes long. QT got some heat on Hook. Hook got the win. It's going to be interesting to see moving into 2022 further what AEW does with Hook and how they continue to present him, because he's been pretty protected so far. He hasn't been, wrecking local performers on Dark or Elevation like some people have. The guys he's been beating have been roster members, and they've been at least sort of names. But to this point, nobody that's really, this guy's going to beat Hook. You haven't seen that yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how that develops.
And also, I mean, you could think that maybe with like Bear Bronson like a few weeks ago, or or you could have maybe thought that with QT here, but like, really though, I mean, it's I think Taz and Cody and Hook himself have built up this character of Hook and really portrayed it to the highest extent. And going forward, like you said, he's going to be really protected. So does he go for maybe like a TNT title shot and then like lose a few more times and then get built back up?
I would imagine. I'd imagine that's where they've got him aimed right now.
Yeah.
Because if he can, what I've seen so far, his learning curve seems to be very steep. It's been very impressive. And now it's got me thinking about him against a couple of the potential TNT title contenders or potential future title holders, like a Scorpio or a Sammy or a Wardlow, which we'll get to in a second here.
Yeah.
Or, there's a lot of potential greatness there. Moving on to the final match in the buy-in, the 6-man tag, the trios match with the House of Black, Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Malachi Black against Death Triangle of Pac and Penta Oscuro, and their monster, Eric Redbeard, appearing for the first time since the Brody Lee tribute show.
Both Buddy Matthews and Eric Redbeard made their in-ring debuts tonight, so which was really good. And the I think the funny thing is, though, with Eric Redbeard taking the pin, I think he might be back to do something more with maybe the House of Black and Death Triangle and stuff like that until maybe Ray Phoenix gets back. So, but it was a really good not triple threat, but a three-way or
trios.
Sorry, 6-man trios, 6-man tag. I get them all mixed up, but you know what I'm talking about. But it was a really good match. It was a good match.
It was.
I think one spot that really comes to mind is I think the spot where Pentagon and Malachi Black were on the apron, and he got him in that package pile driver. I was like, he's dead. He's gone. He's dead and gone to wherever place there is in the afterlife. But I was like, it was a crazy spot. It was really good.
Little did we know that there'd be way more apron craziness as the night went on.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Just a lot of out of the ring stuff that just blew your mind.
Oh yeah. This got plenty of time to breathe. Got little over 17 minutes. So it was a great outing, and the House of Black gets the win. You got to wonder if that potentially puts them in the tag title conversation, something like that, possibly,
or maybe even trios titles once maybe Kenny comes back, or they pivot to Ring of Honor.
That I could see that. Let's give me the House of Black against. Let's see. Shane at Final Battle, Shane Taylor Promotions lost the trios titles to.
Who was it?
Yeah, but they're Vincent's group. Their name is completely escaping me right now. I should know better, but yeah, they as far as I know still have the
The trios
the
titles.
ROH trios titles. So hey, I would not
That's
complain about this.
yeah, definitely something that they could do in the future, and I'd totally watch. And then
Yeah.
up next was, or starting the actual pay-per-view was Jericho and Eddie Kingston. What a banger of a
Yes.
full, like an Americanized Japanese style match. Like it was a mixture
Yeah.
of so many things, and it was good. It was so good.
It was just straight King's Road. It was
Mm-hmm.
no hole, no craziness, just straight up strikes and suplexes from Eddie Kingston, and
Mm-hmm.
did it until Jericho couldn't get up anymore. Just
Started
really,
just
really good
stretching
job.
him. I was just like, oh
Oh
my god,
yes.
that looks
Yep.
terrible, but awesome at the same time. It's a really good match.
I have not seen the stretch plum used stateside. I don't feel like I've seen it used stateside in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I know Tai Chi uses it in New Japan Pro Wrestling right now.
All the time. Yeah,
I've not seen a lot of guys stateside use it, so it was very cool to see Kingston bust that out. And
and get the win with it as well.
yes, I was surprised though that we didn't see hide nor hair of Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah, that definitely piqued my interest a little bit, because maybe we'll see something on Dynamite this coming Wednesday, or maybe on Rampage or something like that.
Yeah,
But it definitely piqued my interest a little bit. I was like, where were they? What are you two
yep.
doing?
Not pre-match, not post-match, not during, not a cent. I was predicting going in that we were going to have a situation like we had later on in the night with Wardlow, more
Mm-hmm.
or less. Jericho calls on him to come help him out because of the fist bump the other night. They come out, but they don't help him. They refuse. They turn him down and walk out. They don't attack Jericho. They don't attack Kingston, but they just refuse to get involved.
They just leave.
Yeah. And then that starts the dissolution of the inner circle. But we didn't get that. Maybe we do on Wednesday. But for now, Eddie backfisted Jericho to the future.
Mm-hmm. Just
I posted
straight
that.
up.
I was running the. For those who don't know, I was running the Body Slam Twitter feed tonight. I posted something to that effect. So I remember watching Chikara when Eddie Kingston hit that and sent Archibald Peck into the past because of that back fist.
I remember
Chikara
that
was a weird promotion, in case you didn't remember.
it was a very weird promotion. It was like Fire Ant and like all that shit. But harking back to that and remembering that, I think I watched maybe like highlights of that match, and I was like, holy shit, this Eddie Kingston guy is great.
Oh yeah.
Why is he not anywhere on my TV? And now look at this man. I love this man. I love Eddie Kingston. Like, he is amazing. Just, bar none.
And speaking of Chikara, one of his old feuds from Chikara, Claudio Castagnoli, is a free agent now, and Eddie has been calling out Claudio
Nonstop.
a lot
Nonstop.
on Twitter, on Instagram. Eddie, whether in storyline or just personally, it very much seems like Eddie Kingston wants that match to happen, and I would be 100% okay with this.
I think we were talking to Cass earlier, and we were thinking the man in the ski mask with the camera. We were saying that it was either Cody or it was Claudio. It was one of the two, or that's what I was thinking. But we didn't get to see quite yet. But maybe we'll later. We don't know.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
I'm still not convinced that it wasn't just a guy who took a unique solution to masking.
That's also very true too.
But so that was a banger. And post-match, Chris Jericho did not live up to his end of the bargain and did not shake Eddie Kingston's hand.
That liar, Chris Jericho, man. Jesus. I mean, I kind of kind of knew that like he probably wouldn't if Eddie won. So I mean, I kind of expected it, but at the same time, like, come on, Jericho, like, be a man, shake his hand, like, come on, you're better than this.
A liar, huh? So does that mean would you call him a Judas?
Fair play to you, good sir. Fair play. Didn't even think about
it. There you
it.
go. Next up, we had the AEW Tag Team Title 3-way match. Jurassic Express, the Young Bucks, and Red Dragon.
I was sweating buckets during this match. I was like, someone is going to die, I think. Just one spot that comes off the top of my head. Jungle Boy's shooting star press onto, I think it was Kyle O'Reilly, that had Luchasaurus in like a guillotine or something like that. And I was like, someone's going to die. It was, for me personally, I give it 5 stars.
The full Monty.
The full. I was just like, Jesus Christ. How do these guys come up with this stuff? Like,
it was truly bonkers, and the last probably 10 to 12 minutes or more were just non-stop
fast-paced, truly
unbelievable.
Think PWG with WWE production.
Yeah.
That was this match.
Given that you had the Young Bucks and Rick Knox in the ring.
Yeah. There you go. There's the entirety of PWG just right there. But really good match. Really good match.
Tremendous. And it ended about like a lot of people thought that it would. Mm-hmm. Red Dragon and the Young Bucks costing each other because
just going
I don't know if you're trying to push that all the way out to Double or Nothing in late May. That's a while to do that.
Yeah, let's see. But it's March right now.
It'd be about 2.5 months.
Yeah. I'm thinking you could possibly hold out till Double or Nothing, but I don't think they hold out that far. I think they go somewhere in between and, have it out.
I could see them doing a little bit of both. I could see a blow off on free TV that doesn't turn out to be the blow off, and then you build to a stipulation match, at Double or Nothing.
I guess sort of like what they did with the Lucha Brothers with the cage match.
Yeah, something to that effect. I could see that because. You want to get your mileage out of this because these two teams are going to deliver. They did in Ring of Honor. They did in Japan. They did here.
Anywhere they go, they deliver.
It's almost like these guys are real good at pro wrestling or something.
Yeah, like, what is this? What what is this?
Oh, man.
But no, after that, we had the ladder match.
Yes. I did want to get to one thing first before we go to that.
Okay.
Where do you like Jurassic Express going from here?
Ooh. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. They're already tag champs. They retained tonight. So I'm thinking who's next? Ooh, I am okay. If this stuff with Jericho and Eddie somehow plays out, how we probably think it will, with Santana and Ortiz just blowing Jericho off, just being like, fuck you, we're doing our own thing. I think you go Proud and Powerful versus Jurassic Express. Have Proud and Powerful win.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think you have Christian Cage and Jungle Express go for the trios titles. Again, that trios division is going to be absolutely stacked from top to bottom.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's where Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus go. I think that's where they kind of do their thing until, they eventually break off.
I do love that the internet has completely booked themselves into a trios division that Tony Khan has made minimal references to actually existing or being in the plans. But we have all decided that this is absolutely happening and it's going to be amazing. And
actually, I think during the media call the Wednesday before this, I think it was Sean Rossap that was like, "Hey, trios division or trios titles win?" ? And he was like, "Whenever Kenny gets back." That was just a straight up answer, and we were like, "Oh, so it's a thing." Okay, thanks, Tony. Thank you very much. We'll take our ball and go home now.
And prior to that, it was sort of like hinted at, and he played coy around it, and it's like, it might be a fun thing to do, but no, and 100% Jurassic Express, Adam Cole and Red Dragon, Kenny and the Bucks, House of Black, Death Triangle.
You could just
I've said this on Twitter. I've said this on Twitter, and I'll say it here too. Shane Taylor Promotions is out there. Bring in Shane Taylor Promotions for this too.
I 100% agree. I think once you bring them in, they will heighten, whatever hype you have around that division, even with Kenny and the Bucks, even with Cole and Red Dragon. Oh yeah. Even with House of Black, they'll raise that division even higher because they're just that damn good.
Absolutely. All right, that was what I wanted to get out of the way there. I agree with you about Proud and Powerful potentially taking the tag belts. That's kind of where I would like to go. It feels like their time, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And then you've got the Bucks and Red Dragon waiting in the wings to be number one contenders again, probably.
Yeah, because I think once Bobby Fish, starts to maybe slow down a little bit, then maybe they'll go, okay, well, we have all these other teams. Go do whatever the fuck you want. And that's literally whatever the Bucks can do. And and with Red Dragon, of course, but I think once maybe Bobby starts to wind down a little bit. Yeah. But he still looks great for, like, how old is he? 44? Something like that?
He's in his early to mid 40s. A lot of the older guys remind me of something that Paul Heyman once said about Terry Funk when he came into ECW, where he said Funk had a field day, just hand picking guys that, I can make him, and I can do something cool with him, and it just felt like a supermarket for him of just guys that he can have fun with. And I think for a lot of the older guys in AEW, I feel like they look at it kind of the same way.
Yeah,
look at all these guys that I can make.
For sure. That's basically what the Mox Danielson stable is going to be, right? That's basically what that is. It's just it's our generation's Terry Funk, except
there we go,
a stable.
Yeah. All right. So there was a ladder match tonight. Apparently, I hadn't heard about this, so I wasn't aware of this.
I was gonna make a joke, but I couldn't even think of one. God damn it! Yeah. But it was a really good match. It was just, I thought it was just outstanding. I had Keith Lee winning it. However, that is not what happened. But he did have a good showing, and I'm very happy about that.
He got to recreate that pop up from behind spot with Christian Finn. This time.
Yeah, yep. Surprise.
As just this looming giant of a man just rises up into frame.
It was great. Loved it.
One of the fun things that I pointed out on Twitter with this that I enjoyed, and by the way, I went back and forth. I kind of settled on Wardlow as a likely victor. There was a lot of moving parts there with Scorpio getting the title shot immediately following, because I like the idea of Scorpio having the belt, but I think the story works better for Wardlow to dethrone Sammy potentially, and then get that ball rolling with Max, and we'll get to that. But Wardlow did eventually pick up the W here. And one thing that I liked to see here was the number of creative ways they thought of to have Orange Cassidy get very close to the ring without actually climbing a ladder.
Yeah, it was. I think my favorite spot of that was probably where it was Wardlow, Hobbs, and
Yeah.
Keith, and they were just like Keith had him like this, and then Orange was like, "Do-do-do-do-do-do." And then I
Oh,
was like, he could probably grab that if he jumped. But then again, it's also humans that he's trying to climb, so
yeah.
that's definitely going to be difficult. So
Yeah, no, that was real early in the match. The three Hosses, Hobbs, Wardlow, and Lee had cleared the ring, and Orange rolls back in and starts hitting his slow motion kicks on all three of them.
and all of them were just like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?" It was
and
great. It was so
and
good.
Hobbs and Wardlow lunge after Cassidy. He ducks out of the way. Wardlow catches both of them in front face locks,
Mm-hmm.
and then Cassidy scrambles up their backs and almost gets there.
Yeah,
And then they had the other one where
let's see, which one was it?
Hobbs and Wardlow had the ladder pressed up over their heads. This was after Cassidy had gotten into the Terry Funk ladder spinning spot.
Yeah,
and he pulls himself up and over and is standing on top of the ladder that both of these two are pressed up into the air.
it was a really good spot, and I think a really another great spot that they did was having Keith Lee just absolutely just lawn dart Orange Cassidy into Ricky Starks and Christian Cage. I was like, if he doesn't end up dying from this, that's great. But if he does, oof, that's a bad look. But it was a really good spot.
That was one of those. That spot was one of those visible winces for me. That spot was one of those visible winces for me because he almost overshot them both, and oh man,
it was a very scary spot, but at the same time, it's just like, ooh, I want to see what happens, and then it's like, oh, he's okay, let's go.
No, and this they had some fun. They really had some fun playing with the with three guys with the size and power of Hobbs, Wardlow, and Lee in this one, where they had Hobbs and Wardlow rip apart a ladder at the top of the ramp.
That was insane. That was nuts.
No, and this was, and it's not just the big guys. I mean, we enjoyed watching them in this match. Ricky Starks with a spear through a ladder.
He's such a star. I mean, like, not even a star in the making. He is a star, 100%.
Right now.
Yeah. If the AEW roster wasn't so stacked, he'd be right up there with, probably trying to get the AEW title, maybe.
Yeah, I would absolutely put him in contention there.
Yeah.
At this point, the roster is stacked enough that you could run like all sorts of insane tournaments and ways to go about things. I'm a big New Japan fan. The New Japan Cup is going on right now, and I love the G1 every year.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they could do a thing like that, like leading into Full Gear or something like that.
And even bring in New Japan, bring in talent from New Japan for this. I mean, I don't know what they would call it. I mean, it's basically just an AEW G1.
You absolutely could. I don't know that you would necessarily if
right.
You don't want to completely just. Yeah, we're blatantly ripping off New Japan right now. We're not even trying to hide it, but
yeah,
I'm a sucker for a I'm a sucker for a tournament. What can I say?
I absolutely agree. I mean, tournaments is like the King of the Ring tournament, and like anywhere from like, I don't know, 93 to like 97. Like, that's my shit, man. And then, the G1 Climax almost every year is great. So, I mean, I think having AEW do something like that would absolutely be spectacular. Even
That'd be a lot of fun. But I'm getting away from us again here. At the end of the day, uh, Wardlow pulled down the ring. Wardlow gets the ring. He didn't even have to fight Dr. Robotnik to do it. And Wardlow is now the
good
face of
call.
Revolution, and we'll meet the winner of Scorpio Sky and Sammy Guevara on March 16th in San Antonio for the TNT title. Does Wardlow take the belt?
Yes,
And who does he take it from?
he takes it from Sammy.
Okay.
He takes it from Sammy. I mean, I love Scorpio Sky to death, but I think he's more of like a coach to the younger guys. Like, I know he still has a ton of room to go, Scorpio Sky, but like, I think he's in that position now where he's like, okay, I can teach these kids stuff. But I 100% can see Sammy dropping the belt to Wardlow, and then having, whatever storyline that is with MJF. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat. I really don't think that you give Scorpio his flowers in a match like that and then take the belt away, a week later. But it really feels like the next logical step in this Maxwell Wardlow feud is for Wardlow to get the TNT title and for that to become another impetus for that split.
Mm-hmm.
What does worry me about that a little bit is how well Wardlow will fare when he does not have the heat magnet that is MJF to bounce off of. Will he be able to stand on his own 2 feet as a face? I think so, but it's really hard to say.
With the reactions that he got tonight and the reactions leading up to the pay-per-view, I think 100% he can be, a top babyface, and I think that's where they're going with him. Even though Sammy is, one of their top babyfaces, I think you give Sammy a break, because he's definitely earned it. I mean, let's be honest, with the matches that he's put on.
Well, and the beating he took tonight, and we'll get to some of that a little bit later on too, but go sit with your Brazilian girlfriend for a while and just hang out, man.
Crazy match. But speaking of his Brazilian girlfriend, Jade and Tay Conti had
a quality segue.
Thank you. They had an interesting match, to say the least. Wasn't the best thing I've ever seen, but it definitely wasn't the worst.
No, well, again, Tony did no favors to the women's division tonight with where he placed a couple of those matches.
I would have switched it. IMO. IMO.
I really feel like, for instance, the 6-man could have gone here, and then potentially put Jade and Ty in the semi-main.
Mm-hmm.
But that this is the way it went, and they went out and did a good job. Jade came out and got played to the ring by Kingfish, the blues guitarist, who just
great artist,
crushed her music.
Awesome.
And
awesome guitarist,
rocking out the Jade Mortal Kombat gear.
Dude, she looked amazing. I was like, are you joking?
This woman is larger than life, and is an absolute star all day and twice on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my goodness, even if she's not in the ring at a level of a Rosa or some of the others in your, or a Serena or some of those others in your division, she looks like a star. She carries herself like a star, and the crowd is responding.
She basically is a star. And I think it was Danielson in his Meltzer's letter thing. I can't think of it.
The Observer.
The Observer. Thank you. Basically, in their interview, he was like, "Yeah, I'm super protective over Jade," and I was like, I love that so much because like he sees so much potential in her, and I think a lot of people do, and I think that's why Tony put this match on before the Rosa and Britt. I think is basically why he did that, and
I could see that.
it was a fun match. It was really good.
Yes.
The very beginning where they kissed, what the fuck? I was just like, okay, yeah, this is wrestling, and I love it.
That's a thing now, I guess.
Yeah, I was just like,
it's a weird power dynamic play in
that
place. I
kind
think
of works.
it's a choice.
It's
I'm
a
not
choice.
sure,
It's definitely a choice.
but I will say, and here's the thing: talking about Jade being a star, I am waiting with bated breath for the Jade Cargill babyface run
Mm-hmm.
because it's coming and it's going to be huge.
For sure.
Like
100%.
it's gonna be her turning on Mark Sterling after something screws up. Maybe he makes some mistake or signs a bad contract that costs her the title, something like that.
Yeah.
The babyface turn is gonna be ridiculous.
I can definitely see that happening.
You should also give some credit to Ty Conti here, who had a heck of a match. Came off looking like she did her homework, had several counters to Jaded that were pretty well put together.
She's definitely much more improved than the last 3 or 4 times that we've seen her in matches. So I mean that's why she got the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Most Improved award for this year.
Yeah.
So, or last year. But she's definitely improved a lot. But there's more that can go, I think. And I think she has like a really, really high ceiling.
I would agree. And we have an interesting 2-tiered kind of thing happening in the AEW women's division right now, where you've got the top and you've got people like Britt and Rosa and Ruby and Serena, and you've got this very established, very veteran group of women that are sort of holding down the fort for now. But underneath, you've got Jade and Ty and Statlander and
Anna
Hirsch
Jay.
and Anna Jay. And you've got all these women that are in their, mid to late 20s that are finding their footing and are putting it together, and in sooner than a lot of people might even think are going to be a force of a division.
100%.
So I think you have an interesting thing happening there where it's very much like, as a college sports fan, it's very much like the seniors and the juniors that are holding down the fort while you've got these redshirt freshmen that are developing in the system. And oh man, these kids are 5 stars and they're going to be putting on something special.
I 100% agree. I think once Anna and Ty and Statlander really cut, like, I guess not like fill their body, but like, how do I word this correctly? I guess become more confident in themselves, maybe, or something to that effect.
I could see that. I think if I might, I think I might see where you're going. That like there are definitely times in younger performers' matches where you can see them thinking through the next spot.
Yeah.
Instead of just going. And once you hit a certain level, I feel like things speed up. You start to hit it faster. You start to just react instead of thinking.
Yeah,
I think
that's sort of where I was going. I read in John Moxley's book that before his match with Triple H at Roadblock, he was like, "Hey, what do you want to do in the match?" And he was like, "We'll just call it in the ring." Triple H asked John what he wanted to do in the match. He was like, "I'll just call it in the ring." And they were like, okay. And it turned out to be one of Triple H's best matches that he's ever had. So
very underrated match.
Exactly. And I think that goes to show that once someone like becomes more confident in themselves, and gets to that level of where they're like, okay, yeah, we'll just do whatever the fuck we want and it'll be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean, I think once these women, really become more confident in themselves and really I guess figure things out, that the AEW's women's division is going to be in really good hands in the future.
And I will say I'm excited for the idea of this is something that in one of my other gigs here at Body Slam, I co-host the Code of Honor podcast with Kylie Fuller, and we talk Ring of Honor. And one of the things that we talked about with the AEW possibilities there was Maria Kanellis being involved in some capacity, since she was a major driving force in the ROH women's division before the hiatus. I know she reached out to Tony Khan on Twitter and said, "You know how to find me."
Yeah.
If I'd love to have her on board.
She was basically like the booker of the women's division, right?
Her and Bobby Cruz were a big driver for the women's division in ROH before the hiatus, and they were doing some tremendous work. The tournament to crown a new champion was great. You're building a major new star in Roxy. You're telling good stories. The ring product was good. Hey, bring some of that on board here. Let's make that happen. Tonight, Jade advances to 29-0. Oh, good.
Yeah, I would love to see, like you said, bring in a lot of the women that were in Ring of Honor. Bring a bunch of them in, or bring them back to Ring of Honor, and be like, hey, teach the girls and the young women in AEW how to do that, but better even. And I think Tony might see that and be like, hey, this is maybe something that we can definitely have in the future and have it be amazing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and there was some interest in I know Cassie reported this, that at one point there was some talk of ROH being a developmental property. That would be a great place to send like a Sky Blue.
Yeah.
Send to ROH and to go against some of the talent there, or performers like that. But Jade advances to 29-0, and we'll see who's next.
Yeah, she's basically the woman version of Goldberg.
She's just rattling them off at this point. So,
and I love to see it. It's great stuff.
Then we had some good old-fashioned hatred.
Whew.
CM Punk and MJF in the dog collar match. Did this live up to the hype for you?
For me?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it did. And the reason that I say that it will, or that it did, is because, of course, him coming out to his Ring of Honor music. I mean, that was just that hit me right here, man. I was just like, oh yeah, give it to me. Just give it to me. Just put it right here. Oh yeah. I loved it. I loved every single minute of this match. It was perfect match, or not match based, but ring based storytelling, and callbacks to Ring of Honor, and it just overall good in-ring storytelling. And I was just like, this match is fucking nuts. And it delivered. It 100% delivered.
Well, the build was full of ROH callbacks, just from the dog collar match that he had with Raven and Jimmy Rave in the first place.
Yeah, rest in peace, Jimmy Rave.
I know. I thought about that in the build too, but from that to the promo work, Punk Punk declaring, "I will become a monster to fight the monsters of the world," as he
Oh,
did before the dog collar match against Raven.
yeah.
MJF quoting Punk's "I am the devil himself, I'm a snake" from the Death Before Dishonor 3 promo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just all the things. And then when Punk comes out to actual Miseria Cantar by AFI with the basketball shorts, and in the dog collar match with Raven, he was wearing the white shorts for that one too. Those were not the same shorts. This was an updated version of them. I wonder if he still even has them anywhere. I'd be intrigued to know.
I would say not.
Probably not, but
I don't think so.
I would imagine not, but it's one of those things that I'd just be intrigued to know.
Yeah.
If he had the originals somewhere.
For sure.
Because he wore those in some big matches. He wore those in the dog collar match with Raven. He wore those in the third match with Joe. So
I think did he wear those in a match with the CD Christopher Daniels, or no? Or am I thinking of a different?
I don't believe so. I think he had already transitioned to Trunks, and the only time I think Punk and Daniels met one-on-one in Ring of Honor was when Punk was already world champion, and he had transitioned to Trunks by that point.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. I got the two runs completely mixed up in my head, but God, just seeing him come out to that music and in those baggy ass 2004 shorts, just oh my God, it was just put it in my veins, just right here, just inject it. It was
fun. It was fun as a bit of a wrestling historian to see people on Twitter who were not familiar with it.
Mm-hmm. Didn't even have like a Titantron or or nothing like confused. That. Just
someone saw the lights go down and the smoke and the way the lighting was, and I saw someone on Twitter say that they thought he was doing an Undertaker homage, and I was like, "Oh no, oh my sweet summer child, no."
Wait, for real? You'll have to link me that because
I'd have to find it again. I bet if I found it, I could dig around, but it was
He's doing a Taker homage. Clueless.
And
Clueless.
I'm still marking out over the entrance, but I need to get to the actual match itself. Just little stuff like wrapping the chain around MJF's hand and then knee dropping the chain to lessen the effectiveness of the power of the punch.
Going to town.
And then Excalibur calling back to that later and noticing when MJF is trying to knock Punk onto the tacks, he's using elbow strikes, not fists, because Punk messed up that hand so badly. Just little stuff like that. Punk getting too aggressive and trying to wrap the chain around his knee and hitting the steps, and then not being able to get him up for the GTS right away because of it.
It's I appreciate little things. You know what I mean?
I appreciate integrating psychology into a bloody brawl. Love it.
It sort of reminded me, of course it reminded me of the CM Punk Raven match.
Oh yeah.
Like, of course, the callbacks even during the match. I think there was one spot where Raven, or sorry, no, not Raven. MJF was on top of, or on the middle turnbuckle with the mic in hand. And once Punk started to walk away, he just yanked him.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's straight out from 2003. That's literally from that match. I was just like, this is incredible.
Yeah, Raven is posing in the crowd, doing the crucifix pose, and Punk just yanks him down the stairs by the chain. And
just great stuff.
It really was, and just so many great callbacks. Punk bleeding buckets. I don't know if they just reopened that cut or.
I think that's what they did, more than likely.
But MJF bleeding, just tremendous stuff. Punk going for the Pepsi plunge again. It made my heart sing to see the Pepsi plunge in the last match too. Just oh my god!
Seeing that for him using that in the first time, how long was it? 17 years, something like that.
Thereabouts, and he's going for it in this match, and I'm sitting here watching it, thinking, "You just wrecked your knee. What are you doing? Why would?"
I think just CM Punk being the craziest man on earth ever is great, and I want that every single match. I mean, not like the bleeding buckets, but I mean just every match of his in this AEW run has been phenomenal.
Well, I think tonight we also saw the return of a version of the character that I forget who it was, if it was Terry Funk or Mick Foley or Jake Robert. It was one of the classic performers of all time. Said that always said something to the effect of, I would take 3 to give you 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we saw that Punk tonight of like, I would take 3 shots from you just to get to hit you once. And when just when we couldn't figure out what was going to happen next, we were back to square one. Out comes Wardlow.
And the turn happened. Praise God.
And oh no, he couldn't find the ring. Where was it?
Where's the ring? I can't find it. And then he fucking clotheslines him or something, and he's like, "Oh,
MJF turns into the GTS as
here it is,
and falls on the tacks.
Oh God, that spot was great. Oh, that spot was so good.
Punk and Wardlow turn on. Oh look, Wardlow magically found the ring. Look
here
at
it
that.
is.
I'm so silly. And just leaves it there for Punk and walks off.
I'm just a silly little guy. Oops, I found it.
I'm a 6'5", 270 pound puckish imp of mischief.
So good. But yeah, Wardlow turning tonight was definitely the right call.
Wardlow. Yes, and Punk clobbers MJF with the ring, gets the 3. Yep, and it's just another great little homage there of MJF finally falls to what he used so many times to beat so many people.
Comeuppance.
It's a beautiful thing.
You love to see it.
It's when wrestling I've said this on Twitter, wrestling at its worst is some lowest common denominator Carney Jerry Springer nonsense, but at its best, wrestling can be Shakespeare.
100%. I totally agree.
And this feud illustrated that tremendously.
This was Shakespearean.
This was wrestling at its best.
Yeah, this was top tier. If this, if Meltzer's, star rating went beyond 5, and I know it has before, but like, if it went like beyond 7, this was, in my personal opinion, a 10.
Like this,
just because of the story that was behind it, and that's the whole reason. Like that's purely it. If it wasn't for the story and just the in-ring work, which is also really good, I don't think this goes even like beyond 4.5.
Yeah, we've seen matches where the story wasn't really up to snuff that were great, but the match was great. We've seen a great story where the match didn't really deliver.
Right.
In this case, it was very much both. I would probably put this in at least the top, definitely the top 5, maybe even the top 1 or 2 stories that AEW has told.
100%. Yeah. This is up there with Kenny Hangman.
Yeah.
100%.
And Punk now gets the win. Wardlow has turned. We'll see the fallout from that in the next, probably as soon as Dynamite this Wednesday.
More than likely. If not that, maybe
from here.
Maybe like a BTE segment, maybe. Could be. Maybe just like a little like flavor of like what we could get on Wednesday, But
it'll be interesting to see where Punk goes from here. I'm not really sure.
He did the title thing.
He got MJF out of the way, and before the MJF feud, he was setting his sights on Paige. So does Punk turn facing the anxious millennial cowboy who has been known to have a drinking problem?
Ooh. You just light bulb right there. There it was. There's the whole story.
we haven't to be fair, we haven't seen Hangman around the alcohol as much since he swatted away the celebratory beer uh, once he won the title. So
That's very true.
it
And
would
then
feel
also,
it would you could
oh,
argue it
sorry,
might
go
feel
ahead.
a little forced. You could argue it might feel a little forced to do it that way, but the story is potentially there.
Yeah. I think another thing that you could possibly do is maybe like have him. I mean, I know this is like kind of a bad term to use, but maybe you have him like relapse. You know what I mean? And like Punk is like I guess maybe he does like the Chris Jericho thing that he did with Chris in WWE, just like where he, poured the whiskey down and, I mean,
Or another callback to Raven. He did that in the Raven feud.
that's very true. I totally forgot about that. Maybe he does that, but I mean, I don't think with Hangman being their top babyface, being their world champ, I'm more than likely I don't see that happening because he's family man, so on and so forth. So I don't think they go down that route. So maybe they just would go be like, hey, this is just a friendly competition. Whoever wins wins. But I also want that championship belt. So suck. I guess it's mine now. So
I wouldn't hate a face feud. I don't know that
yeah.
you can carry a pay-per-view on that, but that could be a thing that you build to sometime in like mid to late April, somewhere in that neighborhood, just
Mm-hmm.
to get enough time to build somebody else up before the next show. And we didn't see him tonight, but as long as we're talking about building up another challenger for Hangman, actually no, I'll hold that. I'll hold that until after the main event. We'll talk about that
We'll
later.
hold that thought. We'll hold that thought.
We'll pull that in. Uh, Anything else on the dog collar? This was an unbelievable match and absolutely lived up to the hype.
Other than the callbacks and him coming out to his Ring of Honor music, it was definitely delivered. Hell of a match, hell of a war. Jesus Christ! I mean, there was definitely spots in this match where I was like, "Ooh, that looked rough," but I was just like, "Ooh, give me more."
Yeah.
And then after that match, we had. I mean, I know I hate to use this term with these two ladies, but we had a bit of a cool down match in a way.
Yeah, it got placed in a bad spot on the card. Again, like I said earlier, I don't know that any favors were done for the women here. And Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. One of the things that they put it was a good solid match. Once again marred by constant interference. We gave Rosa, was it 2 or 3 visual victories? It was at least 2, maybe even 3.
I think it at the most I think it was 2.
Okay. I'd have to rewatch to remember for sure, but I remember at least 2 of them.
The spot where she did the Big E dive and
yes,
went through
Rebel.
I said Ruba.
Yeah.
Whoops. Where she went through Rebel. I was like, oh, this is it. She's gonna win it here. No,
nope,
that didn't happen. I was like, wow, that really took the wind out of my sails. Thanks, Tony. No, I'm joking. But no, I like it. It was a decent match. Definitely. I think it was Danielson that said during his Observer interview, he was like, I do not want to follow MJF CM Punk. He was like, that match has so much like emotional, just tie to it. Like there's no way that you could follow that. And
the
I was like,
catharsis there really doomed them.
Yeah, I was like, that totally makes sense. But I guess I can see where Tony's like, yeah, we'll have it in the middle of the card. I mean, I can kind of see that, but at the same time, I'm like, it should have main evented IMO.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's clearly an old school booking philosophy where the world title always goes on last, barring extremely extenuating circumstances. I would argue this might have been
That circumstance.
with the level of catharsis you were building to at that point.
Yeah.
Is yeah, I would agree, and I know that we're clearly building to Rosa, or at least I hope we're building to Rosa winning the title in San Antonio, and that's great. We've got the Eliminator match next week, and she's going to beat Layla Hirsch, presumably. She's going to get the title shot. I've seen a lot of people already start to theorize that they're going to put it in a cage or do some other thing to neutralize Hater and Rebel.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. I think
things that
I think what they'll do is either a cage match or they'll just bar everyone from ringside like they did on Rampage just the other night with fines and so on and so forth. But maybe they just go with just a regular old cage match, which should be good. And I'm not against it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely for that. So
yeah.
But anyway,
and it reminded me of one of my least favorite tropes about old school Ring of Honor was that there were times where they moved too slowly in moving on to the next guy. And I think in some cases it hurt the ensuing reign. I think that was the case with Tyler Black and his title reign. I think that might have been the case with Davey Richards. And there were a few of those types of situations where it's like, no, you could have pulled the trigger on this a couple of months ago, and it probably would have had the desired effect. You'd have gotten your pop, and and I feel like we've hit that point, if not past it now, with Britt. Britt's very talented. She's got charisma for days, but it's starting to feel like, and this is my opinion, of course, but it's starting to feel like go away heat, not we're mad at you for winning. It's we're tired of you.
Yeah.
But then you hear them still chant DMD for her and still sing along with everything. It's like, well, maybe not. But
I mean, it's the same thing with Jericho, though. You know what I mean? Like the guys over at Fightful, Alex Palowski, he's like, I absolutely hate Judas. I hate the song. I hate it. I hate it so much. And he's like, I hate it when the fans sing it. It doesn't make sense. Jericho should just go away. And I'm just like, you know what, Alex? I agree. So, I mean, but, it's this weird thing where sometimes, Tony is sole creative at most points. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to book Britt to win everything, and that will be it. And then everyone's just like, okay, Tony, but give us more. And he's like, okay, well, here's 3 title defenses. Britt wins all of them. So, it's a mixed bag.
And at its core, there's nothing wrong per se with wanting to hold off and put the title on Rosa in her hometown. And oh my God, you thought Thunder Rosa pops were big. A Thunder Rosa in San Antonio pop,
buddy. Listen here.
And that's great, but you're dilly-dallying a lot to get there, and I feel like you're potentially losing some goodwill along the way.
I think this also went along with when Sami Zayn, El Generico, originally won his first Ring of Honor title. they held on to it for like way too long. In my opinion, it felt like they held on to it for way too long, and the pop was still huge. It was humongous, but it felt like the story just dragged just a little too much. You know what I mean? So
and that's a thing that they've definitely done, and I worry that it's happening here. Before we move on, I realized that we're so wrapped up in the matches, we forgot a very, very, very important thing that happened between the ladder match and the TBS title match.
Go on.
Which was technically ruined by Tony Schiavone swinging around the clipboard.
Yeah, that's totally right. Like it was
which said "Swerve" in big letters at the bottom of the clipboard.
It was so nonchalant that it's just like, oh, I mean, we kind of knew. Thanks, Sean.
Yep.
So I mean, we were like, okay, it's Swerve. Great. I'm very excited for him to be in AEW.
Yes.
But with him coming in and with Jeff Hardy, hopefully, more than likely coming in Wednesday.
Yeah, the worst kept secret in pro wrestling.
Yeah, other than Punk. I mean, honestly, I'm very excited to see Shane Strickland in AEW. Like, I wish that AEW was around whenever he first went to WWE. But we've got that now, and I am beyond excited. I wish that he would have got Ain't Nobody, because that just would have. Oh God, it's such a good song. But anyway,
oh my God, and the dude oozes star power,
charisma
out of every
out the wazoo.
It's unbelievable, and it's just another case. And I grew up a WWE fan. I want good things for the product. I don't watch them much anymore, but how on earth do you miss on this guy?
It's the same thing with
absolutely
Keith Lee.
Unbelievable.
Same thing with Keith Lee. Like they had that. I mean, I'm sorry. We're both very incredibly sorry for nagging on WWE after an AEW pay-per-view. But however, I'm going to anyway. It's like, how do you miss that with Keith Lee? He had that amazing spot with Roman at the end of Survivor Series. He had that amazing, stare down and kind of like shoulder bump with Brock at the Rumble. It's like, how do you miss on this guy? He is a main event talent. And if you cannot see that,
yeah,
what are you doing in the wrestling business? It's like, it shouldn't be this hard. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be. I don't know. That's just my.
I had seen people in the build up to the show talking about getting Swerve in as a mystery entrant to the ladder match, and I didn't like that idea.
Right.
And I'll tell you why. And it was because I feel like the winner of the ladder match, one was going to have to go right in to. For one, it felt like the ladder match needed to go to Wardlow. And I don't think you bring in a guy like Swerve and debut him in that spot to not have him win.
Right. You need to put of course you have to have someone in the perfect position to be like, okay, you're going to win here, and then, somewhere down the line you're going to win this title, and then this debut that happened the same day that you won, he's your challenger. Have fun. Yeah. And that's basically the whole thing. And I mean, of course, I'm very excited for Swerve in AEW. And you're totally right. I don't think you have him debut for the ladder match. I think you just have him show up at the pay-per-view like he did here, to be like, hey, we have this guy now. Happy? And then everybody is like, yes, Mary,
I am.
thank you very much. So, but
100%.
yeah,
So I just wanted to get that out of the way, that
yeah.
we got so wrapped up in the matches that we almost didn't mention Swerve's arrival,
Yeah, almost totally forgot. Sorry about that,
and
Swerve. But
the number of matches that are waiting for him there is ridiculous.
incredible. I mean, just like he said in his promo, so many dream matches. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
So many. Just it's incredible.
Excited to see where he debuts.
Mhm.
And speaking of a couple of guys that could be dream matches for Swerve, almost anybody on the roster is at this point, but Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson.
I just want to clap this one out right now. I mean, just how do you? I mean, I know the crowd was tired.
Yes,
we know. But however, if this goes on like first, for example, this goes on first, that crowd blazing hot, and then you have Regal come in, and it's like, oh my God, the crowd's on absolute fire right now. But I mean, of course, once Regal did come in, oh my God, the pop, it's crazy. But the match itself,
was ridiculous.
The match itself was so good, so good.
It was a fight. It was like, but it wasn't a fight in the same way that Punk and MJF was,
right?
Or in the same way that it was something else I said during the course of the night was Bryan Danielson has a very unique ability to make scientific wrestling look like a fight.
Yeah.
And not a lot of guys can. A lot of guys are good at one or good at the other. Danielson can make one look like the other and seamlessly blend them together.
I think I can't remember somebody posted it on Twitter, and they were like, "So the difference between Gresham and Danielson is not Danielson, but Gresham is a completely just pure style wrestler.
Yes,
very very technical, very by the books kind of thing. Danielson, however, is, like you said, making that technical style and making, just like you said, scientific wrestling look like a brawl and look like an actual fight. And I love that. Like this match, I mean, Mox is so good. Like I said earlier, Mox gave Triple H his best match in ages at Roadblock in like what year was it? 2016, something like that.
Sounds right.
But this match is probably something that you would show to an up and coming pro wrestler or someone that's just starting out. Someone who's just starting their training, and they're like, look at what these guys are doing, and just watch and learn. Like, of course it's entertaining because these guys are, at their very core entertainers, but
yeah,
this is something that you show to someone to be like, hey, this is how you do it. It's like matches like that, matches like Samoa Joe, Kenta Kobashi, matches like, I want to say Kenny Okada, like all of them.
Okay.
All of Kenny and Okada's matches,
the whole series.
The whole series is I think those three, I think is something that you show to someone that's just starting, and just be like, look at what these guys are doing and take from it what you will, but there's definitely a lot of technical stuff in here that's just grade A, just top tier stuff.
Yeah. Well, and the stealing each other's moves and holds, Mox delivering the elbows to Danielson, both of them reversing in and out of submissions.
The double KO spot. Oof.
Yeah. That busted them both open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the whole thing was ridiculous, and it ends of all the ways that it can end, and it ends on a reverse roll up. Danielson himself getting out wrestled.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I don't know that Danielson's shoulder wasn't up if you really want to split hairs on that, but
I'd
have to go back and look at it again just to make sure. But
I think once once Mox had his legs and just had him there, 1, 2, 3, that's it. And then Danielson's like, what the fuck? What happened? How did I lose?
And he gets right in Bryce Remsburg's
happened.
face
He's like,
about it,
which is great. Great riff work by Bryce. I mean, clap him out as well.
Bryce is great.
He's so good. And then after that, they start brawling. They just start going at each other. And then, he's like, bring all the refs, bring all the security.
Well, and I assumed this was going to them eventually winding up back to back, fighting off all the security, and then just sort of discovering themselves and, getting along wonderfully. But they made it so much better.
They made it so much better in a way where it's like I don't think you can debut someone as high profile maybe as Sir William Regal if he was knighted. But just having that moment of Mox getting just absolutely just fucking slapped, just
tape right out of his mouth,
just absolutely just pimp slapped is the only way that I can describe that slap from William Regal. Just bang, and then Danielson just laughing his ass off at Mox, and then Regal turn around and be like, "Oh, you think he's the only one getting slapped today? I don't think so."
Oh no, I have one for you too.
Yeah, and he's like, "Shake hands now," and I was like, "Oh my god." He's going to be the leader of this stable or the manager or whatever. And I'm just like, that totally works. That totally works. That's in so a million years.
It's one of those things that AEW does really well that in a million years, I never would have predicted Regal coming in and being the driving force there, JJ Dillon behind this. But when I take 5 seconds to think about it, I go, oh my God, it makes perfect sense.
Right?
He's been so big for both of their careers and he's available. Like, how did I not think of that?
I think it's the genius of Tony Khan. When it comes to these certain scenarios, when it comes to these very high profile matches of, and just this scenario is like, it totally makes sense, and this totally works in every way imaginable. This works. There's apps. If again, harking on WWE, I'm sorry, but if WWE does this angle, like 9 times out of 10, it probably flops.
It's maybe possible. It depends on who's running it, but yeah, it's certainly a possibility. I'm excited to see this group potentially grow. If you want to call it Dragon Dojo, or I saw some people call it Dragon Dojo, and I like that. But
that's pretty wicked. I like that.
I'm excited to see it grow. I want to see Daniel Garcia involved, if for no other reason than to see William Regal just slap the shit out of 2.0.
Oh my God. Yes, give it to me. Give that to me. Jeez, man.
And their utterly incredulous responses.
Yeah, that would just be so good. Okay? Let me pose a question to you right quick.
Okay.
Before we go on to the other not triple threat, the other three-way
trios.
Trios. Do you think that this bleeds over into Ring of Honor? Because I've seen some people saying, "Oh, William Regal would be perfect as like the GM of Ring of Honor. But instead, he's the manager of this stable. Do you think whoever is booking Ring of Honor, may it, be it Joe or Cody, do you see that happening? Could you see them bringing in these young guys and being like, hey, here is this, and this would be great for you?
I could see it. I don't know if that's the way they're going to go. I could definitely see it. I like the idea of Dragon getting involved with the rebooted ROH, especially under the AEW umbrella, because Jonathan Gresham specifically has made no effort whatsoever to hide how badly he wants a match with Bryan Danielson.
Right.
And this definitely gets them in proximity to do that. And I am here for Bryan Danielson versus Jonathan Gresham.
It would be an absolute banger of a match, 100%. I think you could also do Danny Garcia versus Gresham too.
I'm down. I'm 100% down for that. I think that's something you go to on the build to Danielson and Gresham if you want to do that.
Maybe you do like the thing that MJF did to get between Jericho and MJF, or what was it called, the 5 flavors of Jericho, or something like that. I think you do that. I think you have the group members of the Dragon Dojo or whatever they call it.
Okay, you have
them go against maybe Gresham, or maybe other, like, or Josh Woods, or have them just go back and forth. And I think that would be kind of cool. Maybe
like you have Danielson come out and go and big time all over Gresham and say that this version of Ring of Honor is not like what it was when I held that championship, and you need to prove yourself worthy of that belt. And I got just the guys for you to face to do it too. Here
they are.
Yep.
I
could 100%. I could see that, and I would be down for that plan.
I think that would work really well.
But it's also possible that we may not see that. I wouldn't shock me if Gresham winds up in Impact as his permanent home. We know what with Jordan Grace there.
Yeah.
But who knows? We'll get to that.
We'll just have to wait and see. I think it's about the only way that there is to put it. We'll let it
play out. We'll let it play out and see where it goes.
Yeah. The only reason that we'll let it play out is because we trust AEW to do something good with this.
You're here. The semi-main event, the Tornado 6-man tag, Darby, Sammy Guevara, and Sting against Andrade, Isaiah Cassidy, and Matt Hardy. This thing went everywhere.
Literally.
Yeah. Literally
everywhere. I thought this was going to be a cool down match. I thought this was going to be like, I need to use the restroom kind of match. You know what I mean?
Well, it might have been, but then someone jumped out of the restroom at you because they were brawling everywhere.
Yeah. Like, it was insane. And I mean, they didn't even start in the ring. They didn't even start in the ring. They just said,
I mean, Darby briefly occupied the ring as he sprinted straight through and
that's
jumped
true.
onto Andrade.
Yeah, Andrade and Jose.
Yeah.
Shout out to my dude Toriano fan account for the whole Jose.
Hey, Jose's keeping him humble.
Yeah, there you go. But no, yeah, like Sting in this match, holy shit. He's 63 years old.
Yeah, he's in his 60s, and he's diving off a balcony through 4 tables onto
ECW style, man. Like he okay, I would say he's the Terry Funk of this generation, but however, he's almost the same age as Terry Funk. So he's I don't even know how to like put this, because like Sting, he's had a resurgence as of late, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, good for him, but holy shit, if I was not scared to death for him,
Yeah.
because he is a senior citizen.
Yeah, I think Terry's got about 10 years on him, give or take. It's not a huge amount, but
Right.
about that. And yeah, I was like, that was bonkers. I off a balcony, through the tables. Um, I think it was Excalibur on commentary who said something to the effect of, maybe Darby's rubbing off on Sting a little bit. Like we're
Yeah.
seeing, Darby. Uh, I mean, he's not really mellowing his style per se, but he's wrestling a little bit smarter
Yeah.
because of the Sting influence. It's like maybe Sting's taking a few more chances and being a little bit crazier because of Darby, and it's that interplay is kind of fun.
That's I think that's definitely it. I think once Excalibur said that, I was like, you know what? That makes sense. That makes total sense. Because like it's basically father son. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I mean, shout out to them both. Because I've got love for both of them. But when this match was first announced, I was like, yeah, this is totally like a restaurant break match. Like this is totally like a cool down match. That was not the case whatsoever.
no,
Sammy doing the Spanish fly onto the two tables with Isaiah Cassidy. I was just like,
off the entryway.
off the entryway, mind you, right next to basically where Tony Khan was sitting.
Yeah,
I was like, how is neither of them not dead?
yeah,
Because like I think I would have died doing that. So, but
yeah,
then again, they're also professionals. Um,
yes.
but
But as JR likes to remind you, there's I'm not sure there's a lot of classes about how to fall backwards in a backflip off 10-foot height through a
yeah,
table, and I don't think they
there's
teach that one at my wrestling school.
there's no way that you can teach that. Like it's very much just innate talent.
Yeah,
So, but
and
yeah, crazy match.
well, and the other one that I hands over the mouth of, oh God, what just happened?
Hmm.
Uh, Andrade had Sammy in the vertical suplex, and he just dropped him on the guardrail with
Oh
some
my god, yeah.
force on those ribs.
I was like, oh, there's definitely like 3 or 4 ribs broken there, like for
Like
sure.
between that and the Spanish fly, like how are you able to take a deep breath right now? Oh,
Yeah,
uh,
when he
that's
does
why that's
when
why I'm
he.
kind of 2 weeks. Drop the TNT title and
Mhm.
go the hell on vacation for a while. Oh my
Yeah,
God, you're gonna be
take
dead by 40.
take like a month and a half off, or a month, 2 months. Take 2 months off. Just go enjoy yourself. Be with your Brazilian gorgeous wife or girlfriend or whatever she is. Um, just go have fun. Just go have fun. Go away
And
for like a little
and
bit.
I like Sammy Guevara. I like
I do too.
watching Sammy Guevara. He's
I do too.
talented as hell, but
Yeah.
I oh my God, dude, take care of yourself.
When he does when he does the little thing and he's like, I'm crazy, or I'm loco or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, yes, you fucking are. Why would
yeah.
you ever think about that or doing that? Or just be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna do a Spanish fly off the entranceway onto like 6 tables. Um, sorry, Isaiah Cassidy, you're going to die today. Um,
This is not gonna feel good.
no, this is not gonna feel good at all. But I think the right people won. Um,
Yes.
I think after this, Matt Hardy's gonna be like, you know what? Fuck this. You can have all of these people. I'm gonna go over here with my brother because he's way more reliable. I think.
Well, Matt took the fall as
True.
well.
That's very true.
I wonder if you're not going to see a hostile takeover from Andrade and turf Matt Hardy, allowing him to turn babyface in the process just in time for a certain brother to arrive.
I think that could work. I think that works.
So it works. It gives Andrade some reliable henchmen to do his thing. It gives Andrade more of a featured spot because, oh my word, how is this man not in a featured spot? He is so good at everything.
True. Yeah.
And
Honestly,
it lets Matt and Jeff go off and do their Hardy Boys reunion tour against whoever the heck they want in a stacked ass tag division.
Yeah. I think
the Hardys and FTR.
That's like you don't even need the AEW titles for that match alone. Just be like, hey, here's the main event. Happening.
You're going to want to watch it.
Yeah. Like you're going to want to watch this. I think if Edge ever decides to be like, you know what, this WWE thing ain't working out too well, I'm gonna go over here, and they just go on this crazy reunion tour with the Hardys, and they just murk everyone in that tag division. I think that would be cool. But, Edge is also doing kind of really good things with the E at the moment. So,
yeah, he's doing well. Yeah. We may not get that, and that's okay.
I'm completely okay with that.
As long as they're happy doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
speaking of being happy with what
we presume that the Hardys are coming, and speaking of big things, let's take a look at that main event. Battle of the Atoms. Atom War.
Yeah. This match definitely had me on the edge of my seat the entire time because I was like, who's going to come out afterwards? No one came out afterwards. But however, the match, fucking incredible.
Yes.
They did this match in Ring of Honor in I think it was 2017?
They did it twice.
Oh, I thought they only did it once.
Nope, I looked it up to double check to make sure. The first time was back in 2013 in Richmond, Virginia. Adam Cole got the win.
Okay.
Then they ran it back in 2017. Hangman Page is now several years older and wiser, and Hangman Page got the win in 2017 as part of the NJPW War of the Worlds tour that year.
Yeah, that's right.
And so they were at 1-1 in singles matches going into this.
So with this match, of course, it was great. A couple of spots that kind of had me worried was with Red Dragon coming out. I was like, okay, so they already lost earlier this evening. How is this going to play into that? And it wasn't. It didn't really play out the way that I expected it to.
No, honestly, what I was expecting and what I didn't get, so I'm always glad to be surprised, as long as the surprise makes at least some sort of sense.
Right.
I anticipated the Young Bucks to run off Red Dragon, and even though they're friends with Adam Cole too, don't forget that little nod that they gave Hangman before he knocked off Kenny.
It's very true.
The Bucks still have something in their heart for Hangman Page, and you can't convince me they don't. And that's where I anticipated that going and continuing to play with that elite drama.
Yeah.
But we didn't do that. We got Hangman's friends in Dark Order coming out to even the odds and save the day, because that's what friends do. And and in the process, we got a heck of a match. It was I saw it as it had some similarities in the sense of being very King's Road to the opener.
Mm-hmm.
Had that very King's Road kind of style. Just both guys throwing bombs. There wasn't a lot of catch can. There wasn't a lot of holds or reversals. It was just super kicks and strikes and suplexes and
more apron stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, that fucking powerbomb on the apron, there was so much force that he put into that. I was just like, oh my god.
Had some snap in that apron bomb.
I was like, how is Adam not dead from that.
How is he getting up and walking again? Yeah, it was very much that.
It
Uh,
it
the
was
the
it
the,
was great.
the
It was really
the
good.
dead eye off the apron through the timekeeper's table.
Oof. I was like, okay, so Adam Page um put him on the apron, just absolutely just murdered his back, and then Adam Page murdered his own knees
Yes.
from putting on.
At least that right knee took a shot through there. The way he landed on that table, yeah. But
I thought for sure that they were gonna kind of like maybe shoehorn that into the match a little bit more, like maybe have Adam do some like leg kicks or work the leg a little bit, but nope.
there was part of me anticipating that for the buckshot at the end.
Mhm.
That slingshot was gonna, the knee was gonna buckle when he. And I'm a little surprised they didn't play that, but I'm gonna call that a minor quibble in what was an excellent match.
Yeah. Um,
And
just incredible.
despite what Cass and a bunch of other people said on Twitter and online, the ski masked cameraman was just a ski masked cameraman. Do you want to go into a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we can. So basically what we had originally thought, because I think I'd saw Cass tweet earlier into the show that something about Cody, like in his WWE talks, had fizzled out. And I was like, okay, this could mean one of two things. Excuse me. One, he's going to show up tonight in some capacity, or two, this means absolutely nothing. It would be the second one instead of the first one. We also originally thought that the ski mask cameraman was going to be either Cody or Claudio. Like I said before, it was neither. Nothing happened. It was just a guy
The
in a ski mask with a camera, and he's really good at getting really good shots, apparently. Because I think
well,
there was one where like there was one cameraman across the ring, and like you could sort of see him like in the corner, and I think it was probably like a Panama Sunrise or something like that Cole had hit, and he got a really good shot of it. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's what threw me a bit. For those who aren't aware, there was a cameraman ringside throughout the night, and people started to notice around the main event that rather than wearing just a face mask over the mouth and nose, was wearing a full ski mask.
mm-hmm.
Eyes are only thing visible, and everyone and their brother is now speculating that this means something, that this is somebody. The part that gave me pause and made me think that it's probably not was that I was pretty sure they used that camera at least a couple of times,
Mm-hmm.
and
I'm pretty
I
sure
would
they
think that
used it for the I think they used it for the Hangman Kenny contract signing, where Don
yes,
was
they
like,
did
"It
use
was
that.
me all along, Austin," kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and Don had a fake mustache over his real mustache,
That was
which
so good. I mean, God, Don Callis is an awful human being, but he's just so good at wrestling psychology and
and
such.
he came back during the buy-in. He
He
came back
did
during the buy-in. We didn't get to talk about that. He
with
came back
Kenny's
and
music.
promised, yeah, and basically promised that Kenny's coming back soon.
Yeah.
So, but no, this masked cameraman was just a masked cameraman.
And that's it.
Nothing else to it.
And then that was the end of the show. And it was a really good show. It was really good.
Yes.
If I had to rate it I'd say out of like 5 stars, I'd give it 4.7 and a half.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat. I would usually I don't play with rankings a lot, but I'm probably in that solid 8 to 9 out of 10 kind of level, right in there. Just great show, top to bottom. Set up a bunch of stories moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I don't want to say I was disappointed by the lack of somebody else coming out in the main event to set up the next program or what have you. But
Yeah.
there was a name and that occurred to me, and I don't recall if I've seen anything about him specifically or not, but that I'm pretty sure is due to come back soon. Miro.
Ooh.
And
You
the
know
idea
what?
of Miro coming back and absolutely wrecking Adam Page.
That, it gives me a lot of joy. That you brought him up. We'll have to ask Cass later if there's any updates on the good man that is Miro.
I'd have to double check. I'm almost positive that I read somewhere that he's healthy, he's good. He's just waiting on they're waiting on the right story to bring him in.
Oh, okay.
I'd
So
have to determine where I read that, yeah, but I believe I saw that someplace.
yeah, he said healthy, just creative. I think
There you go.
I think that's what you bring him in on. I think you're on the right track of be like, hey, he doesn't have another, thing for a while until probably like Double or Nothing. Here you go. Here's Miro.
Yeah. Here comes a giant Bulgarian monster to murder you.
Yeah.
Have fun with that.
Have fun. Because I mean, you might have thought Kenny was a test. Well, good Lord, buddy, you're about to go to war. Yeah.
I mean, if he's ready, it seems like an obvious eliminator tournament.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think
actually no. I'm sorry. He lost to Danielson in the eliminator tournament. That's right. Seriously?
Oh no. Sorry. You started cutting in and out.
Well, that's odd. No, I glad this resolved. I was thinking that Miro had gotten taken out of the eliminator tournament, but no, he did not. He got added to the tournament. Moxley was the one that got taken out because of and I got it crossed up. But
yeah, no,
either way, Miro has instant credibility that you could slot him right in there, because God, who else do you put there? Punk is a possible challenger, obviously.
Mm-hmm. I think you hold off on Punk. I think we hold off on Punk until Double or Nothing, or maybe
Could
later.
work.
I don't know. That's definitely more of a Tony thing to think about. But
no, it's a heck of a show. Absolutely fantastic stuff, top to bottom. I don't know that it tops last year's All Out, but
it's definitely up there. That's for sure.
I did see somebody. I came up in the chat a while ago. We're coming up on almost an hour and 3/4 now. But shortly after we got started, somebody on Facebook, I see in the comments, said that this now goes in my top 10 all-time pay-per-views and the best pay-per-view AEW has done to date.
That's very high praise.
I don't know that I agree. You could make that argument, and I wouldn't argue too strenuously.
Yeah. Oscar
Rodriguez, another great contributor at Body Slam, who is Husky, another podcaster with Body Slams. His show was great. Yeah, I don't know that I would say all time.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely up there with with a lot of pay-per-views that they've done beforehand. But I think of this being like an all-timer in some cases, sure, yeah. But maybe like the very very like top of the list. I don't know about that.
I don't think I can say that, because this was very good from top to bottom, but there wasn't that one. Although you could argue that the tag title match might have been hard to say
Yeah,
there, but you really didn't have that tip top, absolutely,
I think
anchor
what
point for the
yeah,
show.
I think what this show was missing, with all due respect to Hanger, all due respect to Adam Cole, honestly, this show was missing Kenny Omega. Because when you go back and watch his matches in New Japan, that's some of like the best shit you'll ever see. And it goes along with saying that um, a lot of people thought that his AEW run up to this point after he lost to Hanger, that a lot of people thought it wasn't that great. But now you can kind of start to see like the significance of Kenny in AEW and be like, okay, they
Yeah,
definitely probably needed him to be there, but of course, with him being injured and such, um, can't. But after he gets completely healed, which hopefully soon-ish, maybe. Um, Don came on during the buy-in, like we were talking about, and said he'll be back soon,
yeah.
which is very good. So, but yeah, I think that's what this show was missing, was Kenny Omega.
Hey, looking forward to him coming back. We'll see, what happens when he does. Hope he's healthy. Hope he's getting well. The laundry list of stuff he was dealing with before he left,
Very much so.
ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Get healthy, man. One of the best in the world. Hopefully he can get healthy, and there'll be a strong top of the card waiting for him when he comes back.
Oh yeah. I mean, just off the top of my head, Mox again, you know, Eddie Kingston again, um,
Danielson again.
Danielson again. Um, give me Hanger Kenny too. Give me Adam Cole versus Kenny Omega. Give me
That's
Miro versus
happening.
Kenny. Give me
Give me Punk.
Punk versus
Give me
Kenny. I
Punk
mean,
versus Kenny.
there's so many matches that you can do once Kenny gets back.
You've got you've got Jay White. You've got Jay White hanging around stateside here and there.
I had
Give me
totally
Jay
forgot about
White
that.
versus Kenny. Give me Bullet Club drama.
Yeah, give me the two sweets and the all of it. Give me all of it, because I am a junkie for professional wrestling. This stuff is what gets me going,
Yeah.
and I mean, of course, we all love it. So,
Oh man. Any final thoughts before we do our plugs and get out of here?
let's see. Final thoughts. Final thoughts on the show. It was top to bottom, very good card. Um, a lot of the matches delivered. Some of them, kind of flopped here and there, but that's just how it goes sometimes. But definitely a very good show, and I'm very excited to see the fallout on Dynamite. I don't know why I couldn't think of the show, but yeah.
Sounds great. Yeah, I this thing delivered. This was not a one match show by any stretch of the imagination, but the one that I was unashamedly looking forward to the most was Punk and MJF.
Mm-hmm.
And as we talked about, that delivered in a big way. So it's everything else was fantastic. The world title match was great. The tag title match was an insane scramble, just like you'd anticipate. The Texas Tornado was wild nonsense. Mox and Dragon looked like a ridiculous fight.
It was a barn burner.
It was a great show from top to bottom, and the time really flew by.
Mm-hmm.
I keep an eye on the Twitter feed. There were several points where I just had to throw my hands up a bit, going like, I can't. I'm trying to document major spots as they happen, just the big stuff. And there
Yeah.
was too much big stuff that just kept happening one after another.
And there's only so many characters in a tweet that you can send out. So
I got 280 at a time, man. You're killing me here. I'm trying to describe this ridiculous tower of tables that the Butcher and Blade have built, and then what happened. Come on, killing me here.
Like you said, just great show, top to bottom. Danielson, Mox, absolutely delivered. Punk, MJF, 10 out of 10.
Art.
Just like you said before, in the best ways, professional wrestling is Shakespearean. And then sometimes in the worst ways, it's just absolute, just carny dog shit. So you got to find the middle ground for most things, but in some cases, like this one, go all out. Just have the time of your life. And that's basically what they did here. And I'm so happy we got to see it. But yeah.
Oh, it was a ball, man. So, all right. So let's get some plugs. Where can we find you, and what are you working on?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at TJones. And you can also find me on Instagram at TSJ1667, I believe. And then you can also find me on Twitch at Tristan Jones 116. And at the moment, I'm not working on anything at the moment, but I do have some things in the pipeline that could be something that you may see here in the future. But I'm not going to, spoil anything. So
love it. As for me, I am. You can find me on Twitter at Kyle K Sparks. There I am. Got that. I write updates for bodyslam.net. Along with Kylie Fuller, host the Code of Honor podcast. Normally, we run on Mondays at 3 p.m. We're pushing that out a little bit this week. Kylie and our producer Jameis are in Orlando for Revolution, so our taping schedule got a little bit messed up this week. We'll be back with another episode later this week, and we got some big things coming with that. There we're talking about all things Ring of Honor, history, feuds, matches, performers, shows, current events as
Hall of
more
Fame
news continues. Yep, as more news continues to drop. The first episode we talked about the Hall of Fame inductees. And we did a deep dive on the Punk Raven feud, and specifically the dog collar match leading into tonight. So we're gonna have some fun with that. And follow me at Kyle K Sparks on Twitter. Keep an eye on the Code of Honor podcast. I'm always going to be plugging that. For bodyslam.net, you can follow BodyslamNet on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find us here on YouTube. We're all over the place. We're taking over, and
hell yeah, man.
Make sure you follow us. Make sure you follow us on all the socials. And thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for watching us geek out for almost 2 hours about AEW tonight.
The best professional wrestling show on the planet.
You could make that argument. I wouldn't argue too strenuously.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah.
No, thanks so much for coming out. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you follow Body Slam, and we'll be back. Somebody will be back again. I'm not sure who'll be hosting for Double or Nothing, but we'll do this again in a couple of months for Double or Nothing. Thanks so much, and good night, everybody.